Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm flying to New York with SAS, which is one of the local carriers here in Scandinavia. Last autumn SAS had a COVID deal where you earned 4 times the points back in status points if you fly before the end of January 2022. An attractive deal making me a SAS Diamond member, which is the same as a Star Alliance Gold, but with a few more perks when flying SAS. The flight today starts in Stockholm Arlanda and takes us 3,930 miles to New York International Airport, with SAS new workhorse on the long distance routes, the Airbus A350. Today's class of travel will be SAS Plus, which is the same as Premium Economy. I was planning on paying for an upgrade with points, but was not able to get it. More on that later. Before getting to Stockholm, I had to fly from my home base, Oslo. And what else can you do at 5 in the morning other than take the breakfast in the lounge? SAS has 2 lounges at Oslo Airport, one for domestic travelers and one for international travelers. If you're flying international, you have access to both of them. Today I only went to the international lounge since it was too early in the morning for anything else. The international lounge is usually divided into 2 different areas, one for SAS Plus business or paying passenger called the business lounge, and another for those that have SAS Gold or Diamond tier, which is the same as Star Alliance Gold tier, called the SAS Gold Lounge. Since it still was a pandemic, everyone was invited to the Gold Lounge and the rest was closed this morning. The lounge itself is nice with a Scandinavian design with a lot of wood details, and you will see this design all over SAS lounges in the world. It offers a lot of seating and tables where you can relax and eat before your flight. The food selection is good and offers the same in the Gold Lounge as the Business Lounge. The only difference is that you get hard liquor in the Gold Lounge. Visiting in the morning, you will find everything you need for a breakfast, such as ham, cheese, some yogurt, some vegetables and cereal. Due to the pandemic, we were not allowed to pour the beer ourselves, so we had to call the staff if we wanted a glass of beer. Or any kind of alcohol, actually. Further down there were some wines, which we were not allowed to pour, and some juices and milk for the breakfast. At the end there was a well-needed coffee machine for the morning coffee. We Scandinavians like to eat hot oatmeal for breakfast, so it was a hot pot with this too. This was supposed to be a relaxed morning with some coffee and food, but it turned out to be a bit well relaxed in the morning. At 6:53 am a SMS ticked in telling us that our flight to Stockholm had been cancelled. But at 7:03 a new SMS arrived telling us that we were booked on the next flight to Stockholm, making us get a really short connection time in Stockholm. While we were waiting, I went to the service counter to try to upgrade with points to business. The nice lady in the lounge said that it was the Stockholm gate that was responsible for that, so I had to check with them. The flight out from Oslo was late, but we finally made it to Arlanda. Finally arriving at the gate, it was 20 minutes to departure. I asked at the gate if I could upgrade and was told that I had to go to the service counter down the hall at the terminal, a 2-minute walk. Once coming there, I was almost yelled at. It was too late and there was nothing they could do about it. I tried to explain that my friend was flying business and I wanted to pay with points. I've never met a more ungrateful person at work. The lady behind the counter was grumpy and didn't have any service in mind. Back at the gate, the personnel there were sorry for me, but they couldn't do anything. I tried one last time, once headed in the cabin, and I asked the purser if I could get an upgrade. She was not helpful at all. I feel like this is really bad customer service for SAS, especially when I want to sit with my friend and I want to use my points for an upgrade. The load factor on this flight could not have been higher than 30% max. This is not the service I expected as a gold member. Once in the cabin, I walked to my seat for this trip, 21H. After a while the frustration was gone and it was time to push back. Going back to the gate is not a good sign.
Ladies ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit. We are trying to push back here, but it's extremely slippery on the tarmac here. So the tractor is pulling us forward and then trying to push us back again. So hopefully we're ready to start here momentarily. Thank you.
This was a cold January in Stockholm, and it was so slippery that they had to use sand to get enough traction on the ground. After waiting for a bigger tractor, we were able to push out from the gate and headed for the runway, 1 hour behind schedule. Time for a seat tour in the Plus cabin. SAS brand the premium economy as Plus. The seats are wide and have a lot of legroom. The configuration is a 2-4-2 configuration, so if you're traveling as a couple, I recommend the seats on both sides of the aisle. In front of the IV screen there is a USB-A port and a headphone jack port. Down by your legs you also have a universal power outlet. On the side of the seat you have a seat adjustment. Here you can adjust the recline for your back and your legs as well as the footrest. Further back in the seat there are some kind of magazine or small storage compartment for a small iPad or some headphones. On the side of the seat you have the coat hanger, and in front of your knees you have another magazine or stuff holder. The screen can be tilted, so if the person in front of you reclines their seat, you can position the screen correctly. The table is inside the armrest and can easily be pulled out by pulling the button behind it. It comes out folded in half, making it a bit easier to get in and out in your seat if you have some drinks on it. It is steady and has a good build quality and can easily be moved back and forth. It is one of the easiest tables to pull up and get back in the right position again that I've ever experienced in a plane. More than often they are hard to get out and even harder to put back in the right position again, but here SAS have chosen a good quality product. In each seat there is a pillow, blanket and an amenity kit like roll. The blanket is better than what you get in economy, with a little bit of fur inside. The amenity kit is actually rolled up in a shoe bag, which contains an eye mask, earplugs and toothbrush. No socks are provided. The seats recline more than the standard economy, and it can actually make a difference if you try to sleep while sitting. The footrest is also adjustable and can be moved up and down depending on your height. I am 180 cm or 5'11" tall, and the footrest maxed out on me. No problem for me, but if you're longer your knees might get raised a little bit. The headrest can be adjusted both up, down and to the sides to get a more comfortable sleeping position. I'm not sure if it was my seat, but the right one was not as firm as the left one. And when I put pressure on it, it fell back to the normal position again. SAS offers Wi-Fi on their planes, and if you're traveling in business or plus, you have this included. The same applies if you're a Eurobonus Gold or Diamond member. If you don't have a status and flying economy, the price is $15 or 19 euros for the entire flight. The Wi-Fi speed is actually decent. I got a 12 megabit download speed, but only 0.28 megabit upload speed. So uploading picture to the cloud is not recommended. The IV screen is large and has a glossy look. The screen size is 13.3 inches, which is more than the 11.6 inches you get in economy. The screen is responsive and easy to maneuver using your finger. This finger you have to use to check the menu. SAS does not provide you with any physical menu in any class. Personally, I don't see any problem with this in the Plus class, as you can easily scroll through the menu. The screen, however, is so glossy that it can be a little irritating, especially during daytime flying, as the sun can reflect a lot on the screen. The entertainment on any SAS flight has an average content. I've flown a lot with SAS, and if you are a frequent flyer, you will notice that the content is not as updated as, for example, Lufthansa or Singapore Airlines. On my flight there were 8 movies categorized as new releases. In total there were only 56 movies, so I would recommend downloading some movies to your iPad or PC if you want to watch something new or find something that interests you. The A350 has onboard cameras, one at the tail and one by the front landing gear. The image quality is really good, and it is a nice feature that I really like, especially during takeoff and landing. As we reached our cruising altitude of 40,000 feet, it was time for dinner. In the Plus cabin you get everything served on the plate as you do in economy. The food selection is a little bit better than you get in economy, and you get a proper glass and a cutlery to eat with. This is really nice because in economy you get plastic cutlery that easily breaks if you try to push hard down on your steak or anything else. On today's flight we got a starter with some white fish and some cream cheese and dill. For main it was chicken with vegetables, and for dessert it was a cheesecake or pie of some kind. To end it all, it was a piece of cheese and some crackers. The taste was good, but if you do not like fish, then the fish may be a little bit strong in taste for some. I liked it, but I eat almost everything. As the food was consumed and we were flying over Iceland, it was time to check out the toilets. There are 6 toilets in total in the Plus and Economy cabin. There is nothing much to say about the toilets. It is a standard airplane toilet where you can do your thing. It was a little bit tight, but it was manageable. After some drinks I tried to take a short nap, but was not able to sleep. Instead it was time for the second meal of the flight. This was a light meal option with some cold chicken with some bulgur salad and bread. The taste was good and a perfect meal to end this trip. After I finished my meal it was time to descend to New York, and I will try to summarize my experience with SAS in their Plus cabin. Starting with the ground service, I have to say that this was one of the most disappointing encounters I've ever experienced from SAS. There was no help or service in mind when I wanted to upgrade with points to sit with my friend on this 8-hour-long flight. Both of us tried at the lounge, the gate and even inside the cabin. The experience was not good at the service counter, when the lady behind the desk almost yelled at me and told me to get back to the gate as the plane was ready to leave, even though they were still boarding other passengers. I can understand the denial when the flight is full, but the load factor could not have been more than 30% on the entire flight, and it would have given me a much better experience overall and some points back in their bank. After I calmed down, I got to my seat and I really like the Plus cabin. It is new, fresh and good to sit in. The A350 is an amazing plane and you feel much more awake after traveling over a long distance or a period. The service on board was average and you get what you want if you ask. They could have been more service-minded and asked me for more drinks or snacks, as the Plus cabin only had 6 passengers. but overall it was okay. I hope that SAS steps up their game when it comes to service-mindedness, as I really like the airline and it's my bonus program of choice. After this trip I became Eurobonus Diamond member, which is a nice perk for me as I regularly fly SAS. After touching down, it was time to experience New York. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I would be happy if you subscribe to my channel. Until next time, have a safe flight.